guys, welcome back to the channel. So this is long overdue. Finally, a review of my Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch. Man on the Moon, legendary Moonwatch. This watch is very special to me. I've had many models. I've had some older ones. I had one with an 8.6 or 321 movement. From 1967, the column wheel movement. I've had, a few of the 861 movement variants, which was, I think reference number 145.022. I've had them throughout the years, okay? 90s ones from the 60s. A very special one that I had from 1968. It was a transitional model, which had the older 321 dial, with the applied Omega marker up at the top, and it had the newer version at that time, 861 movement. Okay, so like late 1967 is when they transitioned into using. They went from the I think it was late 1967, early 68. They went from using the 321 column wheel movement just due to the fact that it was expensive to produce, and they wanted something a little more durable, so they went with the 861, which was pretty close to the same thing. It's a Lemania-based movement, but it's a cam drive and chronograph instead of column wheel, so it's going to be a little more durable and cost effective. So I had one of those models, a transitional model, and oh my God, I should have done things differently. I wanted it serviced. Because it was never serviced. I got it from one of my customers, and he bought it, I think his wife bought it for him brand new back in the late 60s, and it was around the same time. It was, late 68, or I think it was October of 68, he said, is when he got it. And it was, the following year we went to the moon, so it was a big deal, and I had that watch, got it from him, got it at a great price, and I wanted it serviced. And back then, this was 6 years ago, probably 5 years ago, I sent it to, probably 6 years ago, I sent it off to Omega in Los Angeles to have it serviced. Well, it didn't make it to them, and all I wanted done was just the movement service, to be honest. That's it. And it didn't make it that far because it was lost in the mail. And yes, I had an insurance claim on it. It was a real sad deal. I only got like $2,500 for the watch. That's what the value was, that's the value that I put on it. And back then, that's what they traded for, like right around there. Now they're, all over the place, $4 or $5 grand for the older models, depending on the condition. But this one was all original. So ever since then, I've had this love affair for the Omega Speedmaster. It is truly, in my opinion, one of my favorite all-time watches. This one and this model and the Rolex Submariner 14060 no date sub. Those are my two favorite watches. So this and that one, which I've also had that model before. I think I've only paid, like, back in the day, I paid like $3,500 for it. Now you can't touch them for less than like $6 grand. So I want to acquire one later on in life, and I will. I'm just waiting for the right time. Yeah, those are my favorite watches, and the reason why they are is they're just timeless. Their design pretty much is unchanged for the past 50 years, and they're just sought after. Everybody wants one. It's in most serious watch collectors' collections, you're going to find either a Omega Speedmaster, any variant, of the Moonwatch, or a Submariner, any variant, it could be an older one with pointed crown guards, or it could be the newer models, it just totally depends. But it's a favorite among enthusiasts, and in my opinion, it's probably one of the best Omega watches ever made, bar none. And in my opinion, it's the only one really worth having, collecting, in my opinion. There's other watches that are great, and everyone, that's a great thing about watch collecting. Everyone has their own preference, and their own likes and dislikes. So anyway, let's get into this real quick. This is the newer reference. So It's a long reference number, and I'm not going to get into that, but we're going to get into the case and what's inside the case a little later. I'm going to start with the watch, okay? That's why I have this bad boy out. So let me get the dimensions out of the way. It's a 42 millimeter from side to side. It's 48 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip and 13.9 millimeters thick. It's got a 20 millimeter bracelet, okay? 20 millimeter end links. This version is solid end links. You have screw-in links, okay? What it is, it's got a screw on each side, and then you have a pin in the middle, which is a nice system. It works very well. It is easier, though, I will say, like on my Tudor, to have, and even my older Rolex that I had, to have a screw that goes all the way through, okay? Just easier to take on and off, but this system works fine, too. This one has the 1861, okay, movement, which is a 18 jewel movement cam drive chronograph, 21,600 vibrations per hour, and it's got a 48-hour power reserve. Now this movement is Lamania based, okay, movement, and it's been used in like the older ones with the 321 column wheel in it. They were used in Patek Philippe's. They've been used in a lot of high-end watches. So it's got a really good movement, bulletproof movement. It'll handle all kinds of shock, whatever you throw at it, okay? It's not a real accurate timepiece, I will say. This one's gaining maybe about 3 or 4 seconds a day, but you can tune them up. You can get them to keep fairly accurate time. But this is a tool watch. It's a no-nonsense, obviously no date, tool watch. And for racing, this watch back in, I believe, 1957, when it was first introduced, was for racing, car racing, and then it got adopted later on by NASA. But it's a tool watch. That's what it is. This one has a Hesalite crystal, true to the original form. They do have a sapphire sandwich, which I also would love to have, but that one's a sapphire crystal, and it's got a sapphire case back also, so you can see the movement. And that one has an 1863 movement, which is decorated a little more beautiful. It also has an extra jewel as well, but the functions and everything are all exactly the same. You have your tachometer bezel here, okay, all the way around, so you can measure your egg timing, or if you're in a race, you can measure that as well, so you can measure speed. And it's done very well. It really is. That's another thing that I've really liked about the Speedmaster. Just the overall aesthetics, the way it looks, the dial layout, everything is so clean, just perfect. It's like I said, timeless. I mean, it's always going to be in fashion. It's always going to be liked. You can wear it with anything. You can dress it up. You can dress it down. It's just, and the Hesalite crystal, it's just got this warmness to it. It just plays off the light very well. You have kind of this, you can kind of see it almost like this, I don't know, just around the edge of the crystal, you see this warmness to it, like a hue that comes around the side, kind of like a white hue. It's really cool. You'd have to see it in person. I mean, it looks even better in person, okay? You have a 3 subdial register. You have your seconds here at the left, you have your hours here at the center at the bottom, and then you have your minutes on the right, okay? I'm gonna start this, all right? And it's got very nice pushers. I love the pushers. I love the case design. I love how, I love everything about it, I'll be honest, but I love how it's protected very well. The original had no crown guards. It was more of a flatter case here on the sides. Crown was exposed, everything was exposed, and I thought or from what I understand, they developed this a few years later, this case design, just due to the fact, and I think this case design, I think maybe around 65 when they changed to this, and this is just in my opinion, looks better, and it protects the crown, protects the pushers. But with the second hand moving, we can kind of see what's going on here. We have Omega at the top. You have your Omega emblem at the very top, Omega Speedmaster Professional. Over the years, you've had this Speedmaster and Professional would be in like different fonts, even the Omega. So this is the newest. Actually, it's been unchanged for probably since I believe the late 70s, possibly. They've been using this style font. Okay, so over the years they've had different ones. So if you have an older Speedmaster, the S especially looks a little bit different. But that back in the day it was changed a little bit. Okay, which I think those older dials, they're really cool looking. In fact, the older dials, the sub dials are dished in a little bit further. Okay, but if you look at this dial, if it'll focus. And I don't know if I'll be able to get it, but it's got a little bit of a texture on the dial, okay? It's kind of hard to pick that up with my, with what I'm using here, but it's got a little texture. You can kind of see it, okay? So under some lighting, you get much more texture, and I think that helps to cut out the glare and everything. The hands have texture to it as well. You've got, your white hour markers, you have your white hands. The black and white just, it's super visible. So at any, you just pick it up any time and you're going to see the day or the time without no obstruction. I mean, right away you're going to see the time. So very legible. Okay, the dial layout, the hands layout is just very legible and very well done. You got your Swiss made down there at the bottom. If you look at the side of the case, you have brushed on the sides and polished flank on. It's like a beveled polished flank up here at the top. I believe they've called it like Bombay lugs, twisted, I guess you can call it, twisted lugs. I like the way that looks, and it's brushed on the inside. So that's really nice. I like how it ties into this particular bracelet, and it's brushed and then polished center link, okay, in the middle there, okay? If you noticed on this particular, very nice deployment too, but on this reference, the bracelet on the outer side is the same on the inner side. So you might see some brands where it's polished here and then not polished on the inside, but it's also polished. Actually, no, I'm wrong. Is it or is it not? No, it's not actually, but that's just brushed. Okay, so just polished on the outside, but you would see sometimes it would be a little bit different, but this is actually made the same. So pretty much it's a high quality bracelet. You have a little bit of a micro adjustment here. Okay, two adjustments. Fits me pretty well, and it's a very nice deployment. So very positive. Clicks on very well. It's not going to fall off the wrist. You have your Omega Speedmaster Professional, and this is all brushed. Polished on the sides of the bracelet. So just, God, I love this watch. I really do. It's gonna stay with me. I'm not getting rid of this one. Flight qualified by NASA for all manned space missions. First watch worn on the moon. Now they've changed this a little bit. The older casebacks was a little bit different than this reference, but it's close. Okay, and then it says professional moon watch. They didn't have that before. Professional moon watch. That's new. And then the way they've kind of written this out is a little bit different as well. So if you look at the older ones, even from the 90s, from the 2000s, they're a little bit different than this. I don't know the year that. I'm not sure exactly when they came out, what year they came out with this reference, but it's been probably at least for the past 10 years, I believe, right around there, eight years. But in my opinion, this is probably the best reference because you're getting a better bracelet. It's still, other than the bracelet and the case back being changed, it's relatively exactly the same as the ones from the 90s. It's unchanged. Very nice. I would remove the case back to show you the movement, but I'll be honest, I don't want to. It hasn't ever been opened. I did buy this used. The guy I got it from, he only had it for about a year. In fact, this is, I think it was, and I'll show you, I have the booklet and cards and everything, but I believe it's still got like a year left on its warranty. And I think he purchased it in London. So, and we'll get to that. But there's the watch, okay? So pretty much, I went over the movement, 18 joule, 21,600 vibrations per hour. It does have a 50-hour, or no, it has a 48-hour power reserve, but it's rated water resistance for 50 meters. Not a dive watch, obviously, but if you wanted to go in the pool with it, you can. I wouldn't really recommend it. It's a chronograph, so. But if you wanted to, you're washing the dishes, you're doing whatever, you get it wet, it's no big deal. What I love about the plastic crystal, the Hesalite crystal as well, is how you can totally polish it out. Right now, and I've already done it a couple times, so right now you can see some surface scratches, you see that? But I kind of like that. It gives it, more of a patina, a nice worn look, and I love that, I really do. And if you want to clean it off, you can polish it off. It would look clean again and scratch free. So that's very cool as well, which you don't have that with a sapphire crystal. Sapphire crystal is more durable, but you won't have that vintage feel, that vintage vibe to it like you will with this. Let me put this down, okay? And you know what I'll do is I'll put it on my 7.5-inch wrist so you guys can see how it fits, okay? Right there. Fits me very well. In fact, I love wearing this watch. I really do. Compared to my Tudors, because my Tudors are a little bit bigger than this. But this, for a 42, wears very nicely. It's got a 48 lug to lug, so it's not tall, or it's not very long. So it's fits very well, okay? Let me get the loom out of the way. While we're here, we're gonna do the loom. And it's got great loom. Amazing loom. So let's check that out. There we go. Let me kill the lights. So there's the loom. Very nice. Done very well. Evenly applied. I don't know if it'll last all night, but it'll last for hours. I know that much. So that looks pretty good. All right. Let's get into what you would get. So if you bought a new reference like this, you would get this beautiful box. Okay. Let me dive into this. Here's the warranty card, international warranty. The guy I got it from bought it right here, Harrods International. So I believe probably in the Queen's Terminal. So in the airport somewhere in London. And he purchased it in 2018. Okay, 7th month. Actually, it's coming up pretty soon here. What's the date today? The 8th or the 7th? So yeah, it's coming up pretty soon. So he bought it a couple years ago, okay? And I believe it still has a warranty because I think they give you 3 years on these. I'm not sure, 3 or 4 years. So there's that. And let's see, let's do this. Here is the pictogram. So it tells you your caliber, the serial number, the reference. Now that's the reference. You guys want to know the reference number? That's the reference number. Okay. So the guy bought it a year ago, okay, and it's in fairly good condition. And I got a steal on this. I got a great price. Got it on eBay. I couldn't pass it up. So let's put that off to the side. Here's the, anyone that's ever bought an Omega will see, one of these. Let's get this out of the way. All right, now let's open up the case. And this is pretty cool. This is got like a challenge coin here. Looks similar to the case back. You have a loop right here. All right. Looks like you've got your tachometer there. So that's pretty cool. And we can really magnify this bad boy here. So that's cool. And in this little cubby, you have, and this is untouched. The guy never put this on. You have a really nice Omega NATO. And then you have something that you would have seen Buzz Aldrin wear, which is the, it's like a Velcro strap. You know, you can wear it over your space suit. So just in case, you guys go up to the moon anytime soon. But there's some extra spring bars in there. There's a really nice Omega tool, spring bar tool, okay, that it comes with. And you see that right there. Okay, so put that back in. And this video's getting long. I don't think I've ever had a video this long. Let me put that back. And see, what I'm going to do now is show you what is under door number 2. Hang on one second here. Try to position this. There we go. Let's get this out of the way so you guys can see what's underneath. So look at that. Look at the size of this box. This thing's massive, okay? This thing's, okay, there we go. So now it's got a book, and this book has all the, some factoids, some stuff about the spacesuit. It's pretty nice. I haven't even read this. Haven't even went through any of this, to be honest. But there's the original Speedmaster back from 1957, so fairly close to the model I possess here. It had broad arrow hands, just a little bit different. You can tell it has no crown guards. Okay, crown looks the same. Pushers look the same though. So it's very, very similar to mine. Okay, and this went on for a few years with this model. All right, and then A Legend is Born, 1957. Look at that. Here's one of the astronauts, Sigma 7. This is when the Omega Speedmaster first went into space. So this is 1962, okay? And there's been many different watches that have gone to the moon, have gone up in space. So, I mean, this isn't the end-all, be-all space watch, but it is definitely, a claim, for Omega. I mean, they did go to the moon. I believe some astronauts still use it today. Very cool. There it is on the Velcro strap. What else do we have? Apollo 11. This is 1969 when Buzz and Armstrong went up there. Let's see, what else do we got? There's Buzz. Nice. Got our American flag up. Patriotic. Apollo 13, Lucky 13. So if you buy one of these newer references, you're going to get all this. And there's a Snoopy. Now there's a lot of, I don't know how many there are, but I always see them. There's many. If you're a fan of Snoopy, there's a bunch of different limited edition Snoopy Speedmasters with Snoopy on the dial. So that's very cool. Last Men on the Moon, 1972. Let's see what else we got here. Some more pictures. Very nice. So there's some. So these are all the missions here that went to the moon and space. See, still flight qualified to this day. So just in case, like I was telling you guys, if you're going to go to the moon, this is the one to pick. And this one here is just, like an instruction manual. It shows you how to change your straps, do stuff like that. It's got, I guess, for the leather strap and then for the bracelet. So double-sided. But so there you have it, guys. This is my review, my take on the Omega Speedmaster Professional, Man on the Moon. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this over to my cousin Aaron at the OFD channel. I want him to check this out as well and see what he thinks of it. But thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Goodbye.